Hello, everybody. We are back. We have one case solved, and that means that my friend over on the other side of the bench is going to be defending once again. And I would also like to congratulate him on his win, even though I'm not necessarily a fan of losing. I've never lost a case until then, and even then I got screwed over, so god damn it. Barack Van Zeeks is not happy. And yes, I'm speaking in the third person for some reason.
Would you like some blood?
No, I've already had a helping of blood before I came on the air today, so no thank you.
Okay.
I would also like to congratulate Sora for being the final fighter in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I will be playing as him immensely when he comes out in 2 weeks. So, I must say, I'm a huge Disney fan. Like, I just love watching Disney with my husband and my wife. I can't tell you how many times I've watched The Little Mermaid. I must have seen it like 20 times, all in one day. So,
I thought you'd be a Lion King person.
well, no, I don't like the idea of Scar as a villain. Like, he puts all lions to shame. Anyway, let's continue with...
Hey, he was like that because he got screwed over. Because Mufasa was named, king, and then he's named Trash. So, trash.
Look, Scar is like the Donald Trump of lions. He just fucked everything up.
Oh.
I mean, if you've seen the way that Pride Rock looked when Simba was about to come back, yeah, fucked up to the bits. Anyway.
All right, let's get to our case.
Okay, we're about to enter a new case, and for Deanie, for Sylph, for Circus, and for Mooney, they will be playing 6 different characters tonight, because this part only has 6 characters in it. So let's get started.
Yeah.
And we got some new characters, too. Alright, this is a cutscene. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
And it looks like we have returned to the clock tower.
Yep. You're back.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night.
What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Bureau, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. I made a little fort.
Oh yes, I remember. You took all the pillows and then you put a sign up that says "No girls allowed."
Well, I can't help it. It's my man cave. I've been in a wardrobe closet for like 50 fucking days. I need some space. And then I had to go defend somebody at like 5 minutes notice. I didn't get even a chance to sleep because I've been studying on that cruise the entire time. So yes, I need a little man fort. Sorry if that bothers you.
Oh no, it's all right. Oh yes, it really was a sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except When I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, and that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking.
In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill.
Ugh, I really am sorry.
You gotta try to buy that gold, I'm telling you.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though.
Well,
If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Well, let's go on a shopping spree then.
do you even have the money for it, though?
We'll manage. Ugh, London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour.
You said I'm taking over for this guy, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Well...
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday.
Sasato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart.
Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices.
Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you.
And, in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed.
Oh!
No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer.
Yes! I got it! Yes! Yes!
You make me think the CDI
thing.
I won!
My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island.
He sounds as enthusiastic as SpongeBob and is dreaming of him finally getting his driver's license.
I sure take a good picture. Man, I really should have grown a mustache.
Going on.
Oh, wow, Sasato, you look really good with the mustache. Enough with that, Winosuke.
Get out of the closet.
But Mom!
Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now.
Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem.
Another case already?
Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense fucking hell. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I?
Yes. I want a break. I want to go on a shopping spree. I want to build multiple man forts in that hotel. At least for like another 6 months.
Just buy a bunch of fancy hats.
Yes. Go to that guy that
And
was
hats
on the
for
witness
those
stand.
hats.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, I thought that guy wanted to fight you.
You know, it was like bad blood, you know. I mean, he can forgive me, right? Right? I mean,
Right.
I'm sure he can use some customers. It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
To get him guilty? I mean, we never did find out whether or not he what was it? If he planted evidence or not in that omnibus.
Oh, I'm gonna be mad if it turns out he killed someone after this.
The culpability of the defendant has not at the present time been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to pro-offer judgment. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Thank you, Mr. Penguin.
Wah! 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 I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent.
Mr. Naruhodo.
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
She looks like she's gonna kick his ass again.
Do it!
Yeah.
Well, look, I can't help it that I want to know the truth behind what happened at the murder scene. Sorry that I want to find out who actually did it.
I'm sorry, I just want to see her kick your ass. I'm sorry.
Of course you do. Like, how many times have I been Look, I can't, we didn't talk about this. Sasato threw me across that hotel room about 10 times. I practically had to make the fort back because I fell into the fort. And she was like, no, I'm going to Sasato throw you from the fort so that you can't get any closer to near it. So while she was sleeping, I had to sneak under the bed just to make the fort. But then all of a sudden, her solid snake-like senses kicked in, and she threw me almost to the window. The window broke, and I almost fell out. And I was scared for my life.
It was the ground floor, and you tried taking one of my pillows. I do not function without 8 hours of sleep exactly.
God, if only there was a judge in this building. And a jury.
Sounds like it'd be great. It'd be great if they had this whole scenario animated. It would be amazing.
Get out of the closet.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry?
What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
Dun dun dun.
What?
No.
What? Mr. McGilded is dead?
The birds,
Yes,
the birds.
he died. He died a horrible death.
He's dead. He's dead.
We're pecking his eyes out as we speak.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
Oh.
I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there's a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No.
How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded.
Oh, damn, he went in the way of Danny.
Went out in... Way to go out in flames there.
Well, thank you. It was one of my most fiery performances, I must admit.
Performance of a lifetime, I say. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. Well, fuck you! I'm doing my job! Sorry, I only get paid £3 an hour. That's enough for one hotel room a day. Well, shut up, kid.
Not enough for fancy hats. And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
I have to say that he must have went and got himself deleted.
Oh. I'm not gonna say, sorry, I almost spoiled it. Thinking back now. Immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilda did mention going back in a courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who was Mr. McGilda talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGilda.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow!
Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow, Sasato-san has such a way with words.
And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
The most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
And they get a lot harder, I've been told.
As I believed I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny?
No. My apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Britain's Got Talent.
As soon as I said that, he meows.
Even Elliot agrees. Well, I don't know about that.
Dots. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned here.
Oh.
Ghosty! Hi, Ghosty!
Ghosty!
Hi, Ghosty.
You missed, someone became... what's the way to put this?
Barbecued.
No.
this-
Let me explain. So I'm dead now, and I am now the god of hellfire. Because what happened was I was the one that got burned in that omnibus. I was trying to escape, but now I am in hell now, and I'm fighting Hades for the battle of Death God.
Yeah,
Son,
Governor.
too.
What's
Yeah,
going
it's
on?
brilliant.
What was he going to say before?
What? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me. It's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
I mean, it's not hard to tell what he's thinking. Probably looks all nervous and...
Breaking the fourth wall.
I wish I had my man fort right now.
That is to say, no one has died. As of yet.
Wow, a non-murder case. The first time ever in an Ace Attorney franchise history.
Oh my gosh, finally.
And the trial will not be today. There was plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
Oh man, can we stretch this out like an entire show, like 24, where each episode lasts for an entire hour of that day? Ha, so the trial's tomorrow then. ...
Is everything all right?
Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial.
Ah, yes. I nearly forgot. There was one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Oh.
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented.
Ooh, you got your surgery done. Congrats.
Yes. That's great.
Yay!
And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Oh, we all know that.
Yes, that's right.
Here we go again.
Your time is up. My time is now. You can't see me. I'm John Cena.
Hi, John Cena. Thank you so much for giving me a trial, Mr. Cena. Are we going to be doing this trial live on pay-per-view?
Oh, Senpai Cena!
That would be amazing if it was possible.
You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time.
There is, but you are wasting it.
Ouch.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
What's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi.
Kazuma?
Yes, I'm still alive, by the way. Not really, but in spirit.
Oh, so he's like a force ghost.
Yes, I'm a Force ghost. I learned from Obi-Wan Kenobi. I actually got to meet him up here. He's actually a really nice guy. So, I learned the ways of the Force, and I became a Jedi. And, I really like the lightsaber a lot better than the katana, I have to admit.
What color is your energy?
Disrespect on your ancestors.
That heart is sparkly when it should be broken in half.
I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing.
Oh.
Another thing. Continue.
On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do.
Oh, no.
Something very important. And what exactly would that be?
He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he had ever made it to Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about?
Oh, shit.
Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been there?
So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. As I fade out Windows Movie Maker style.
Dots. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean?
Well, I could tell you, but I don't know how to Force Ghost yet. I'm still trying to learn, but Obi-Wan's not giving me that lecture yet.
Someone get some Scrabble tiles. Maybe that will help.
Oh, man. You know what I think of? I think I can invent something that would be perfect for Halloween time.
The Luigi board.
Yes, the Luigi board. That's right.
Oh gosh, I love this. Kazuma Ghost, where you at?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
Ghosty's saying that she can see his headband flying in the wind elegantly.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all.
Oh, Lord.
This is you, Circus.
Oh, no.
Could we trouble you?
What do you think?
Ah!
has no neck.
Of course, I've been eating all these fries all day.
Fish and chips.
Lovely weather, isn't it?
Right. The weather got to do with anything?
Ah!
Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. So flippery about weather doesn't get every English getting hand, you know.
English
God,
gent.
my god damn it, my fucking tongue got tied.
But Sasato-san told me it was foolproof.
I'm a busy man. I'm very busy man.
Nom nom. Nom nom.
Where the hell is these fucking chips coming from?
It refills it on its own.
It's magic.
He's
Oh
a
wait,
fucking...
no, I know what it is. It's one of those things that it pushes down and then like you press a button and it springs back up. You know those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they have with toys that make it look like it was eaten.
Pez? Like a Pez?
No, I mean like those plastic accessories that come with toys that
Oh.
you want to pretend the dog ate his food and like you just
Oh.
press the food down.
I just thought he was a wizard.
I'm questioning the logic about how regenerative the fish and chips are.
Don't question it. It's Ace Attorney. You don't question things here. It's like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but with lawyer stuff.
Okay. Oh, this me. There's a crime scene to investigate, and I'm here to give, like I said, you a talking to.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregerson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because some bumpkin who here on a gent from a country I have never heard of. Hear the ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters.
There's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Renosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Eh?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue.
Eh?
It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
Ooh.
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Unbelievable! How did she pull that off?
It's called having charm and being a lady.
So, Strongheart asked me to fill you in on the case. The name is Tobias Gregerson. Inspector Gregerson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson, Inspector Gregson.
What's the matter with Sasato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
Well, it looks like.
You're acting like you know this man, Miss Sasato. but he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes, he features prominently in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh.
That
Oh.
book again.
Hey, do not make fun of my book. It is very well read. It's a very good read. I have not read it myself, but I have a reviewer that said it was great, which is also my mother.
Oh, my sweetie wrote a great book. You should all read it.
Yes, my mother was a juror in the last trial. She was juror number 6, from what I remember. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ranced Magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible!
Well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like himself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
Fangirling going on.
That's his highest praise?
That's the same way to saying, well, it didn't give me diarrhea.
That's like saying you're like a flower that grew out of a pot of dirt.
Kids, this is why you don't meet your fucking heroes. They will disappoint.
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not. And thanks to the magazine, my name is known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everybody wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it's not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors?
Oh, damn.
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame has gone to his head. Stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper. So I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As eggs is eggs.
Dots.
I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear, perhaps sudden rise to fame does change people.
So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it could be a simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Bear Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it was fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital unconscious.
Oh gosh, I know I said this, but I was being sincere. I was like, hey, can we just have a non-fatal stabbing? I did not know about this. Like, that's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Sasato takedown, would you?
You bet your ass I would have. Oh, that is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Renosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyways, after some of the whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit?
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke out now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that has been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Brooke Van Yikes.
That's right, motherfuckers. I'm back.
Oh.
No!
Sounds like you heard of him then.
Ghosty Simping is turned on now.
Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Von Zeeks.
They came to my house one time.
Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
I showed them my collection of library books. And have you ever seen Beauty and the Beast? It's exactly like that, but 10 times more books.
Oh my god.
The Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Barack Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
Indeed I did. Lord Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution. They call the accused the sacrificial lambs.
Small BRB.
Okay. And in every trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
Ooh, man.
This Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it?
Really, motherfucker?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured the verdict of not guilty.
Homestar is back.
Yes.
And that's what of it.
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Weeper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you should. No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
Sato Star.
That fucking Homestar Runner's knocking me off of my game. Sorry. What happened to the bloke at the end? He's dead.
What?
Ah!
Magnus McGild came a cropper in that anonymous wind. It went up in flames. So, you don't rightly say save the defendant, can you?
What are you saying?
Look, if Van Ziggs could get the dirt stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works in magic. Black magic.
That's right. I am the Grand Wizard, Lord Van Zeeks.
I thought you were going to say, oh, the Ku Klux Klan for a minute.
No. Why would I ever say that? I'm not like those motherfuckers.
I had a good long think about that, if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that?
I'm serious. Look at me. I'm just eating my chips and fish. Well, right. I have filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over there to holding cells, you must meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He is good as shaking like a leaf in his cell. He is. He'll give you a chuckle, if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer, and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you.
And I lost my accent towards the end.
So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Circus, what's wrong?
Try not to laugh at the Homestar Runner.
To tell
The truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking.
Still, get back!
You never realize how much you use your stomach muscles until they're hurting like a motherfucker, Ghosty says.
Dude, I'm trying not to use my stomach muscles.
The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaken like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny.
So,
If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes! Let's go!
Circus is now mute.
I just poured water into another bottle. Jesus.
We're going to prison.
I don't want to go to prison.
Too bad, we're already here.
No. No.
So these are British prison cells.
Shit, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah, they are.
they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon.
Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Damn it, Joe.
Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name?
What?
Calling me by a number. It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
That's Mr. Naruhodo. What do you think is going on here?
I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese.
Get away from the desk.
Excuse me, but who? Shh! Quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are.
Wow.
Oh, you little shit.
They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it.
Ghosty, you're fucked. Your muscles are fucked.
Right. So, could I ask you who exactly... There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost?
Ghosty, Torgo, I never thought I'd see you again.
We mean you no harm, prisoner son. Are you Japanese by any chance?
This is beyond my wildest dreams.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was most monumentally moving moment!
Is
the
he
hell?
gonna start charging up so we can go Super Saiyan? Is he part of the Ginyu squad?
We'll find out. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Ah. What compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon!
Dude, you're not on JoJo. Stop it.
A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example.
Yes, I can. I will. Shan't stay sullen and silent!
This guy is unbelievable.
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be.
Is my character showing up anytime soon? I have to go to the bathroom, that's why.
Go ahead.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Thank you for your cooperation. I'm a lawyer, as you said. My name is Renosuke Naruhodo.
And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume! Soseki Natsume.
He's doing the DreamWorks face, but he looks nervous.
Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That's right, Naruhodo-san. Gold star.
No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
Wait, he's expressive.
And haiku? That really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No.
What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable!
Oh, shit.
I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi!
Did he dab?
Dabbing
Yes.
on he's dabbing on everybody.
Oh, what the hell? You must be a man of great standing.
Oh, yes. So I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems.
Ghosty. Okay, but don't tell me this is Victor Kudo's ancestor and then dabbing on them English.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san?
I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no. It's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear. It seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
Oh, he's trying to do hand gestures, like the ones from Naruto.
So, Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case.
Why does he keep doing the okay hand gesture? Lol.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet.
Sure, that was a woman.
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
So that's how Ghosty died.
Oh gosh, and the camera kind of softened, like there's Vaseline on the lens.
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
He's a poet. What do you expect?
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
Hey,
Hell.
fight or flight.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English, and a young woman at that? I'm defiant, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
Oh,
I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anyone pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great.
Here we go again.
oh shit, here we go again. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum?
Why, thank you.
What do you mean, Sasato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did.
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit.
Arg! You. What did you just say?
Nothing. I didn't say
I can't-
anything. Oops. Perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
People will wonder.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. Stop shaking that imaginary box.
What could be inside that invisible box?
I don't think it's a box. I think it's a head.
I put the flea in a box, and then I put the box into another box, and then I'm gonna mail that box to myself, and when it arrives, I will smash it with a hammer.
Oh, but didn't you know, in that box is a string, and you pull that string, and it reveals a secret compartment, and in that secret compartment is an embarrassing picture of SpongeBob at that Christmas party.
It's also where I use my imagination.
What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
A photo of SpongeBob from the Christmas party.
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh, yes. She's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck.
Oh, it's him?
Accursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name for as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed busybody, be gone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes. I knew it. Well, what can I say? I have a weakness for this type of stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
Mr. Sholmes?
I just accuse people. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I accused you and you figured it out. I'm just going to accuse people until they solve it for me. That's how it goes around here.
He's not a good detective.
Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door.
Open up.
They started shouting at me, "This is the police, put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting, dietary discrimination devils!
How could it?
Wait, like a
cheese
little-
be a weapon?
Like a little wedge of cheese?
It was mozzarella.
So he just, I imagine him just, remember how Elle from Death Note sat? Him sitting like that on a stool with like a wedge of
Yes.
cheese, holding the water part with both hands, just nibbling like.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I can see that happen.
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And there he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. Oh god, now I'm picturing Herlock Sholmes, the cat from Alice in Wonderland. It's so
my
fitting.
God.
It is so goddamn fitting.
Like you could see him in 1 minute and then he suddenly turns invisible the next.
Only he would fuck Alice up enough to have the Queen of Hearts get to him like, off with her head.
Oh, very trollish.
Yes. That Hairlock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English.
Sounds German.
I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, the sweet, stooped kitten of a man. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Venus, foreign, film, flammery! Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear. I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
I'm fine. He's not fine now.
It's just I believe it's more of like an error in translation.
Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you could just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes. Alright. Yes, they really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind.
After this, he would just want to go back to Japan.
But
Probably.
please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student. I have defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
I'm not even the foreign student who is supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, who do you mean?
The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me.
Goodness, why do you say that?
For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I am a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's racist, Your Honor.
That's awful. They're wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
God, he looks like he gotta take a shit.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. Before he craps himself. We have a case to prepare for.
Breathe,
Gosh, I wanted
Monique.
you to laugh. I didn't want to, like, you to choke.
I choked earlier, so I.
Well, we're on Briar Road now. Look at that bike with the broken tire.
Yeah, who did that to the bike? Look
So,
at the snowman with the hands in the air.
and waving it like it just. Oh wait, it can't move its hands. So this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, love you too, Ghosty.
Yeah, same.
Look at the regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know.
Wait, does that say William Robbins?
Yes, it does.
Nice. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dreams come true.
Oh, excuse me. What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Hi. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
Wait.
Hold on. I can't see the screen.
So, you been to the holding cells then? What do you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose.
Racist.
Well, what do you will? It doesn't bother me. The bloke in court tomorrow, whatever happens, and the verdict is a foregone conclusion.
The stone cold air of rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
Let's get Stone Cold Steve Austin to see what it's like.
I'll open a can of whoop ass on you.
But he's gonna open a can on the air? What did the air do
Yeah.
to him?
What hasn't the air done?
Oh god, he's probably gonna Stone Cold Stunner that snowman too.
No, not Frosty the Snowman.
Either that or he's gonna share a beer with him.
It looks like Frosty's going to the slammer anyways.
That makes it worse somehow.
Stone Cold versus Stone Cold Air versus Snowman. I'd watch that.
Cone Cone versus Cone Stone, the restaurant.
And you're gonna have that shit on pay-per-view?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard is most sophisticated policing investigation you'll find anywhere in the world, madam.
Oh, and you know, I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
Just don't steal it from Bobby, you understand me? Just don't take it from Bobby. It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh, yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being in London, Bobby, is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, crap.
really.
First thing in the morning, you know what he does. Goes around and around all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yep. Rats on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's a regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles, that's approximately this distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well?
And chased after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
That's... I've always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do.
Wait, why do I have to give up my dreams?
It happened around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, on the open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital.
I never said she was a lady. The truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't able to find out much about her after all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the location and area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It is Yard's policy to give the lawyers defending suspects the odds bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
We got the local map as our first piece of evidence.
Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow Portman. So, who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but...
But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry I have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have two very reliable witnesses, no less.
Ah,
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
There were witnesses now? Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife, and the man is one of the most reliable and respectable citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
ah.
A policeman? That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing particular about that, madam. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them being in the act and all.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like in court tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that gives you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make your job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too.
Don't sass me, motherfucker.
Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect. I hear that it was Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
What are you bringing him up for?
Somebody's triggered.
Was it something I said? The color has drained from his cheeks.
You triggered him, dude.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsumi who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings.
I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes' inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Ugh.
The man is an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spotting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims he has solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Grubble, grubble.
Ugh.
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rance Magazine.
The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in the stories. And their so-called great detectives make a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yards, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Holmes tell-all. Tell-all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be front by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. That man's dangerous to us at Scotland Yard, as he is to all of our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
See how serious I am? I'm squeezing to death my food.
Not the fish and chips.
That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me. But I will say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
Because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean? You're damn right, Renosuke.
I just love the idea. He's just walking by with his groceries, just tearing that.
There's many assortment of wine bottles being carried by his husband.
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper, he hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Until now. I'm sorry, I just decided to come out of retirement. Is that really a big deal to everybody else here? Hello?
He needs blood, that's what he needs.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones.
Master criminals?
The violent ones.
That's right. He handpicks his victim, only deals with the guarantee to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine.
Oh, damn.
Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but he didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reasons he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness?
Trust me, you do not want to know right now.
Oh, I know. It's a milk carton falling over. With a nice little floral ground.
You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it.
The inner machinations of his mind are an enigma.
Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective.
Right, go away and let me eat my chips alone.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes. What is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean
Mr.
Okay.
Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
Such a fangirl.
Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
Bullshit.
Yes.
I will throw you like a rag doll.
The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even.
It's Baker Street.
Oh, you
You
mean like the
stalker.
song? You mean like the song? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh,
Just
now
like
you're
P.
being mom.
Sherman 42 Wallaby Sydney.
Oh, now you're making me blush, ma'am.
Ghosty
Oh.
says like, oh, ghosty.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Sasato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Wait, how old is he? Because she's 17.
I have no idea.
Hurrah!
Hold on, let me check the court record.
I'll summon a carriage.
Oh.
Oh, she's 16.
Oh, okay.
That makes it worse.
I don't even know how old he is, but we'll...
She was only 16, but I loved her so much. Oh crap,
Moshi
someone
Moshi
check the
Bosu.
wiki.
Moshi Moshi Bosu. I'd like to report a bruh moment right here.
Oh gosh, I did my line.
I'll summon a carriage. Ooh.
So I have to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Who stuffed you on the boat?
Cutscene.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Ooh, that's pretty.
I'm also a florist.
I thought it'd be darker.
Damn, this place looks fancy.
Oh. Wait, that's where the video is taking place.
So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels
Oh,
surreal to
gosh.
be here somehow.
Okay, I looked up his age. Documented age range as recorded in court records, profiles, and case files. 34.
Oh! Yikes!
And I thought Edward Cullen was bad.
Well, I think it's more of like a pure idolation that she has for him.
Nope. Gotta get out before Hanson gets here.
Take a seat.
Is it as described in the stories, Mrs. Sato?
Tuss.
Sasato-san?
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes.
Oh boy.
I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest?
No.
Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yes.
So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer.
Oh gosh.
Please don't mind me.
Ha! She's obsessed.
And then after, help me break into his room so I can steal one of his coats and pretend that I'm also a detective.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor?
Hello. Is it a big new case from Mr. Jones?
Hello? Wait. Aren't you...
Oh, come with me. I'll go make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here?
She's still in her little world.
Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. Wonderful, isn't
The
it?
King of Bohemia?
King Wilhelm Gottfried's Sigmus von Ormstein, of course.
I know, right, Chess?
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there.
How dare you?
The tea's brewed, and I'll have a freshly baked cake as well.
Ah, it's you.
I knew it. Sasato-san recognizes her too.
Is it strawberry cake?
Ah, there you are.
Yeah, I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to a trial run with my experimental smoke grenade launcher.
Oh god, somebody get her away from it.
Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilded's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
Well, I've never met a man lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor.
Hey, it's a winner. I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man, but I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance?
Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely?
Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see.
Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's off on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
Stalker.
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite?
Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley.
Is she
Ah.
like his daughter?
I can't say.
Oh.
Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Sasato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Why am I
Oh.
thinking of the volleyball from that one movie, Castaway?
Oh. Wilson! I'm sorry! And then just buys a duplicate when he gets back on land. Oh, I'm Renosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you.
Lovely. Susie and Bruno. Got it.
Susie.
And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her. I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Did you just read my thoughts again?
Maybe.
Ah, I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin, isn't it?
Of course it is. Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely, it's often explained in the stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruhodo. Inspirational. I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find.
What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London.
Oh, yes, well... Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one.
It's about time you took up something other than being an assistant. I was wanting you to get into some music, but you didn't want to listen to me. But then the Sherlock Holmes stories came out, and now all of a sudden you want to play an instrument. Of course.
But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house.
Yes, because you're terrible at it.
So now, it's merely an ornament in my room.
Oh, god damn it, I wasted 1,000,000 yen on this.
Damn fucking ungrateful child.
That must have been an awkward conversation.
Broken dreams.
We walked a lonely road on the boulevard of broken dreams. Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas.
Ooh, interesting. Let's see. Black Peter? What does that mean?
Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll come back to that blackboard later. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this?
Flashbacks. Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Ah, Ginny? Yes. She's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
Oh no, it's not weird. I've done that before.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism to my inventions.
Okay,
Oh, shit.
yeah, and then you're just gonna blow up an innocent person that just happens to just look at it. This girl is dangerous.
He'll want to know. Anyway,
Look at who she's fucking staying with.
we're after that. So she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
I'm also an inventor.
Mm.
Oh. Hurley.
Yes, Kylock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Well, if he was your stepfather.
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Oh. Rest well, Ghosty.
Well, I expect you found that the lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh, no. They're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there.
Oh. Oh yes, there's something I must ask you.
Of course. Go ahead, Susie.
I'm a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and
Oh, you have a copy of Ram's magazine.
yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship.
Oh, this is most exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Harry is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think?
Goodness.
Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he had just solved on the steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author.
Yes, I'll let you in on the secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band.
I assume that's in reference to me dying. Okay, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my band and all this, because my band is very lonely.
Tis a pleasure.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually. But that goddamn snake, it couldn't actually move the way it was supposed to in my mind. That fucking snake. I had it with snakes. I hope to see that snake. Ah!
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but it's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you?
Yeah, they said the same thing about the Steve Jobs movie, and look how that turned out.
So, do you mean to say, are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Randst magazine?
All written by me? Yes. On my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Sasato-san's getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes. That's me. I mean, my real name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true, too. I am a doctor of medicine.
No! At 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible.
But Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman.
Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling.
Oh,
Women weren't allowed to be published back then.
yeah, that too. Like, are we not gonna address the elephant in the room here? That they would have said to a little girl who wanted to be an author to go away and go play Tea Party.
Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
Does? I suppose it does, yes.
Poor Sasato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart.
This is why I say don't meet your heroes.
Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas.
Black Peter? What does that mean?
Didn't we already do this part?
Oh, how intriguing. It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my, I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us.
Sasato-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most grisly crime you can imagine.
You bet glass I'm doing that right now.
It's a case that Harry solved just recently. A black cat called Peter went missing in the neighborhood. Harry tracked it down at the fishmonger's at the end.
Well, I can't wait for the story to be published. Oh, that reminds me of a real life story where someone's cat went missing for like a few days and returned and came back with a tab from this fishing place because they gave him like 3 fish.
What the hell?
So yeah, the cat came back with a note that said, "Hey, your cat ate these fish. Please come down and pay this tab."
Like hell I'm going... Like hell I'm doing that.
Like I think it was pretty affordable, but like still, like.
That's pretty funny though.
About before.
Yes, yes? What's on your mind, Uno? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all that?
Oh, that's what you mean.
Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail.
Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey at the defense antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh.
Somebody's dog's barking.
It's mine, sorry. So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. Stop it. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor. Tell me you were unaware of London's court affairs?
The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Yes, you did. And then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison you met a suspect, weren't you, earlier today?
Ah,
They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see?
I didn't realize.
And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial with Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face. So I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow?
Well, having barely been home for a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he had caught a Japanese man who was brawling and trembling.
You found
Uh,
that funny. The guy was crying and trembling. And...
Your tears bring me laughter. Your tears of sadness bring me tears of joy.
Wow, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
This
A-
man is sadistic.
A
He's a
Ja-
maniac.
a Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Mr. Natsume. Oh.
Mr. Natsume.
Now, Budo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono. Isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught.
Well, that's racist also. You can't just assume that we're just gonna take a case like that.
And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He is silly.
Here I stabby, 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 stabby.
Just gonna pretend that note is Caesar and stab him
Nah.
15 times.
He's a maniac.
He actually writes on the note, to Herlock. Then fall notepad.
And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
Tune in next week where we'll be talking about a brand new person called Jack the Ripper. That's
Join
on
us next time
that's
for that.
that's on NPR.
Dots.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
Actually, we're from Domino's. They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
She's not 10 years old. She's a dwarf.
You even mentioned the certain something of Mr. Sholmes's delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
I have a name, you know.
I mean, hey, of course she'd be smarter. She's the newer generation.
Shut up, Torgo.
So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying. I have a name, you motherfuckers.
Shut up, Torgo.
He's just... Oh, he's just communicating through the fireplace using the flue powder. Because, you know, British and magic.
He would be the guy to mess up Diagon Alley. He'd be like, Diagon Alley.
Oh no, you can also use it to, just put your head through so you can talk to people.
Yeah, that too.
Manos is not here, you know, Torgo. Yes, Hurley just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There was witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene.
Can you please answer me? It's really hot in this fireplace.
A short, shifty-looking, stooped man.
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Now we're even.
You
Yes,
both
we're-
jinxed yourselves. You
So-
both jinxed yourselves.
So Seki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Harry used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man shivering in fear.
Now, I'm just really, really cold.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course he did. He's a great detective.
What a sip.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly.
Well, that's why I'm here to help you. I'm a great detective. I could figure
London
that.
is rifle crime.
Oh,
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it apparently.
Oh, dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire.
That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Time and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
Can you imagine every other country being a lot worse? I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. Fuck you, then.
You
I will punt
traitor.
a small child.
Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Ah, you're most welcome.
She did the yondeer face.
I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well, I expect Haley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume. Haley said he was going to going to the man's lodgings.
Trust me, they were gonna call me Mr. Nuts at some point.
And
God
I'm thinking
damn
of Mr. Peanut.
If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson? Were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you need to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
All right, we got a postcard. Our second piece of evidence for this case.
Just got a postcard. We just got a postcard. We just got a postcard. Wonder who it's
Who
from.
it's from?
Oh, it says Iris right in the front of it. Damn it.
It reads, tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript of the speckled band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon.
Goto was like, well, you do tea, and then I'll bring my special blends of coffee.
We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. Yahoo!
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. And that's gonna do it for this stream.
Woo!
That was long. The defendant guy, he's a real person.
Yes, I am a real person.
No, I mean, he was based on a real person who wrote stuff.
I know. I know very well. I'm glad they put me in this game. I'm glad they had enough respect to think that I was important enough. Unlike some people that think that I'm just going to get a guilty verdict right away.
So, like, I think we have a time frame for when this took place, 1905 or 1906.
Well, this is more around the late 1800s. So
Yeah, but that's
right
when the guy was around.
yeah, so right around like the beginning of the early 1900s or late 1800s. It's not really said, I don't think. But anyway, we'll be back to continue the investigation for next week, and we're gonna meet some interesting characters as well. So look forward to that. And if you're going to have spaghetti at least sometime this week, if you need to add a little bit of something on your naked spaghetti, do what Barack Van Zeeks does. Barack puts a little bit of butter in it just to give it a little bit of flavor. Not too much because you don't want buttery spaghetti. It's kind of like if you just decided to put a bunch of like sunscreen on you when you go out and then it just like sticks to you and you're just like, ugh, I feel so disgusted. So anyway, that was going to do it for us tonight. We'll be back next week. And for all of us here at Naked Spaghetti, we say fare thee well and good night.